Good evening. First tonight, a businessman's told us why he agreed to pay online criminals hundreds of pounds. They made a cyber attack on Wilson Baldwin's fertiliser company in Nottinghamshire.
Well, he's part of a business group that's calling for more action from the police. And today, concerns have also been raised by the Policing Inspectorate. Our social affairs correspondent, Jeremy Ball, can tell us more. Good heavens, where are you, Jeremy?
Yeah, good evening. I'm from, well, we might describe as the edge of cyberspace. This is the new front line in the fight against crime. That noise you can hear, fans cooling computers which are analysing lots of data, and of course that's data that criminals can use to steal and can use for extortion too. They're crimes that might be committed on the internet, but the impact is very real. At this factory in Langer, they're making specialist fertilisers which are sold around the world. Around 30 people work here at Micromix. It's a small business, but it's still being targeted by cyber criminals.
All those file names had changed, and all these files would just be symbols.
The most serious attack infected the whole computer system with ransomware, along with an extortion demand for £850.
Blind terror. It really was squeaky bum time, because we didn't have any backup. Everything was corrupted, and production started to grind to a halt. We were absolutely stymied. We couldn't send an invoice, and it said, if you want the decryption code to get all your files back, you have to pay £1 Bitcoin.
The police refer victims of cyber attacks to Action Fraud. It recommends taking precautions, including antivirus software, and its advice on responding to ransomware: don't pay.
Why did we decide to pay a criminal money? We were between a rock and a hard place. Nobody, and believe me, we tried hard, nobody had any solutions other than getting the decryption code.
That ransom wasn't the only cost. They also had to spend several £1,000s to put the damage right. And this company's not alone. The Federation of Small Businesses says 15% of its members here in the East Midlands have been victims of some form of cybercrime, and now it's calling on the police to do more to protect them. Jeremy Ball, BBC East Midlands Today in Langer.
And the Federation of Small Businesses is with us now in the form of Jennifer Thomas. Thank you very much for coming in. So, as Jeremy said, and you have said, it's 15% of businesses under cyber attack. I mean, we saw some of the impact there, but impact on businesses and indeed their employees when something like this happens.
Absolutely. It's a problem that has been prevalent in small businesses for a really, really long time. We, of course, represent small businesses across the UK, of which there are 5.5 million, and they represent small businesses and 99% of all the private sector firms. They are operating in incredibly pressurised commercial environment at the moment, huge pressures from business rates, from spiralling employment costs. So to have to face these kind of threats every day is incredibly, incredibly stressful for both them and their employees, their families, and everybody that's got a stake in that business. So our report that we've just released does suggest that about 15% of the people we surveyed said that they had experienced cybercrime. We've worked out that that's almost 4 million cyber attacks every year. And business crime in general is costing the UK.
Stay with us, Jennifer, because we've got another development on this story. This is the Digital Investigation Unit at Leicestershire's police headquarters. And today, government inspectors have published a report on how teams like this up and down the country are tackling cybercrime.
So for more on that, let's go back to Jeremy Ball. So what's the verdict from you, Jeremy?
Well, and they say the current policing model simply isn't up to tackling this, because the 43 local forces all have their own local cybercrime units that respond to this in different ways. Now, the inspectors say that's inconsistent, it's not always effective, and what they're recommending now is a national policing response to tackle this. Now, today that's been welcomed by Derbyshire's Chief Constable, who's the National Police lead on cybercrime, and Peter Goodman says that while he's proud of the way that local forces are tackling a complex and challenging threat, consistency needs to improve, he says, as does the response to victims. And today he's backing the inspector's call to restructure the policing of cybercrime.